All right. First and foremost, I want to thank everybody for joining me this evening for this online spirit gallery. I see a couple of familiar faces and I see some new faces, and that's what I love. Now, what I have to do is before we jump into this, I ask everybody to do two things for me. I want everybody to drop their expectations. If you've ever seen a medium before or a psychic before, if you've, God forbid, ever seen them on TV or anything like that, please leave all your expectations at the door. Keep your expectations low because I have no idea how this evening's going to turn out. But what I also want you to do is I want you to keep your sense of humor high. This is supposed to be a joyful gathering. We're not supposed to gather and mope around and be all mopey and grief stricken and all of that. We are supposed to know joy. So expectations low, sense of humor high. We're going to have a blast together. Now, for those people that have seen me before, I apologize in advance because I have to tell my story. I have to give everybody a brief introduction as to who I am and what to expect with me and my path. So I'll try to keep it brief. Then we'll get into the fun stuff. So I found this path in 2016 when my husband Isaac got me a DNA test for Christmas. Prior to that, I was not a spiritual person. I was raised by working class people, the two youngest kids of two farming families. My mom was a waitress and my dad was a construction worker. I have no shame and a whole lot of pride in saying that I was raised by bikers. I was not raised by religious people. I was raised by salt of the earth, waitress and construction worker. Now, why I bring that up is because a lot of people who do this professionally, and I'm not here to knock them, a lot of people who do this professionally will claim or say that they have been speaking or hearing to spirits since they were a child. That's not my claim to fame. That's not what my story was. I was a young kid when I figured out two things about myself. I was about 3 or 4 when I realized that I was gay. I had to hide it from people. I also figured out that I loved the scary stuff. Give me the vampires and the ghosts and the werewolves and zombies, all of that. I couldn't get enough of that as a young child. And I like to blame Oscar the Grouch. Okay, I was a kid of the 80s. My parents raised me on Sesame Street. I loved all the freaky stuff. And I turned into the 7 or 8 year old kid that couldn't get enough of the Stephen King paperbacks that my mom would find at yard sales. I just tore into them, lost myself in those stories. Fast forward many years to 2008 when I met my husband, Isaac, at the farmer's market. When I met him, he was a very spiritual person. I was not. We had a lot of things in common. We liked hiking, we liked watching horror movies, we liked men. We had a lot of things in common, but there were a lot of things that were different about us. He was a very spiritual person. I was not. He had a traumatically religious childhood. Traumatic. And to put it into perspective, while I was raised by bikers, he was raised by Bible thumpers, very religious, very, very religious people. Now, he had worked through that. He, at the age of 24, was into Reiki and shamanism, herbalism, tarot cards, all that stuff. And I was literally the guy that was like, babe, don't know what you're messing with. Please don't hurt yourself. Okay? Please don't hurt yourself. Remember the kid that was raised on Stephen King. Now, 2010, we got married. 2013, I got an idea to start a marketing business. And there's a reason why I bring this up to folks. So my parents were entrepreneurs. I got this idea that the people in our area weren't doing social media well. So I came up with a little business to go and walk into the pizza places and the floral shops, the pet stores, and go, hey, I'll run your Facebook, I'll run your Instagram. That grew an astronomical rate for me. It was wild. At my highest, I had about 80 clients in a 25-mile radius around Littleton, New Hampshire, where we're based out of. The reason that I bring that up is because I was a very type A person. I have a lot of clients, doing a lot of technical work, doing websites, videos, all of that. It exploded for me. Fast forward a few years, in 2016, Isaac got me a DNA test for Christmas. Now, at that point, I'd only known one grandparent, my grandmother Edith, my mom's mom. She had family from Canada. We're about an hour south of the Canadian border. She affectionately referred to herself as a stinking Frenchman. Very proud of her heritage, old dairy farmer. Come to find out, the DNA test indicated that the French part of us was a lie or a misconception. We're mostly Viking. I stand about 6'7". If you see me in person, I'm mostly Northern European, Scottish, Scandinavian, all of that stuff. But I had some really interesting things pop up in my DNA test, and they still perplex me to this day. I am about 2% Nigerian. I am 2% Portuguese. Like there were like these little things in my DNA, and I had no idea where they came from. So I was very intrigued, wanted to find out where they came from, signed up for ancestry.com, and I started to build my family trees. And as soon as I started to build my family trees, boy, did I have all sorts of weird things start to happen to me. Now, here I am, the marketing guy. I would be sitting across from people at an appointment or going out to lunch or dinner with them. And all of a sudden, I'm seeing things, hearing things, feeling things, tasting things, smelling things, all sorts of weird things would happen to me. And I am very, very blatant when I say this. It freaked me out. It scared me. I had no idea what it was, where it was coming from. Remember the kid raised on Stephen King, right? So what the hell is happening to me? It worried me for a couple of reasons because I knew the stuff that I was getting or receiving was not coming from me. And part of me was worried that it might have been schizophrenia or mental illness. So I was a little worried. I got a family, got a business. I have to take care of those things. So what I did when this stuff started to happen to me, and I think a lot of people here will relate to this, is that when we get scared of things, we generally walk away from them. And that's what I did. Whenever these things happened to me, I'd stifle them, I'd push them away. I spent 29 years in the closet. So I was like, I had plenty of practice at repressing those parts of myself. But what I kept doing was I kept building my family trees. Now, if you don't take anything away from this, please, please, please build your family trees if you can. Find out who you come from, what those people went through. It absolutely changed me in the way that I see myself and the way that I see my place in this world. What that process did for me is it helped me realize that all of the things that I am made up of, the weird height that I have, the twilight zone in my head, all of it comes from people who struggled through tremendously difficult lives. Everybody here on this session has gifts and attributes and qualities that no other human being has. Those gifts, qualities, and attributes come from your ancestors who struggled to make sure that you're here today. So I hope that you will try to lean into those parts of yourself. And as you do so, understand that you are honoring those ancestors who would have suffered to make sure that you're here today. Now, what that caused me to do is that caused me to run at the scary thing instead of away from the scary thing. And I had a couple of motivations to figure out what was going on for me. Maybe I had something going on, like my husband was telling me. Maybe I was going crazy. I had to figure it out. So what I did is I set up a science experiment. It was Halloween of 2017 when I had my husband get me 9 people that I did not know, didn't want to know them, didn't want to know their names or anything about them. And I ran the science experiment. I wanted to sit across from them and go, hey, I'm feeling a thing. I'm seeing a thing. I'm smelling it. I'm tasting. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. Okay. What does this mean to you? Now, I ran that science experiment because I had to figure it out. And I love the scientific method. You got a hypothesis, you run an experiment, you cross reference the data you gather to the hypothesis, and come up with a conclusion. The first person that I sat across from that Halloween, I asked her this question. I said, hey, are you a recovering Christian? It was a very random, very specific question to ask this complete stranger. Come to find out she was a former minister. She had conflict in her heart around God, church, all of that stuff. Now, from that day, Halloween of 2017 to today, June 28th, 2024, I have done these group readings hundreds of times. I have sat with individuals in person and virtually thousands of times. And what I have discovered is that every time I sit with somebody and I connect with somebody, the information that I get is in the best interest of the person that I'm sitting with. So I like to speak in analogies and metaphors. So I'm going to start here with some analogies and metaphors. So you and me, we're alive as humans. I want you to think of the human existence as the marriage of flesh and spirit, body and soul. Think horse and rider. Your body is a physical creature like a horse. Your soul, the eternal part of yourself, is the rider. Alive, you're married. When you die, or when that physical part of you dies, it separates and the rider carries on. Where the rider goes, where your soul goes, as far as I can tell, is not some distant dimension that is disconnected from Earth. A lot of people who believe in heaven or the afterlife will think, oh, yeah, it's way off in the distance. It's not connected to us at all. What I have found is that it is right here. It's right around us all the time. In the same way that we are physically and spiritually married, so are the physical and spiritual worlds married. And so, what I want you to think of is your ancestors, your beloved dead, all the spirits that are around you and want the best for you, they are behind a one way mirror that we would see in a cop show. When you die, you go behind the one way mirror. So, we right here are the suspects on that side of the mirror, pretty oblivious to what's going on over there. Our loved ones in spirit are the cops. They see us, they feel us, they know what's going on in our hearts and our minds. They watch us like we are their movies and their TV shows. I will encourage you to give every beloved dead that you've lost the best TV show you could ever give them. Now, they are our source of intuition. We do have a higher self that kind of knows things as we're moving through this funny place called Earth. But our ancestors are really around us all the time. Our beloved dead, the in laws, the teachers, the friends, the pets, all of them are around us, wanting the best for us from that place where they view us. Now, they will send us insight, they will send us information, they'll give us sensations, impressions. What I have determined for myself, anyways, is that the language of spirit is feelings. Feelings. Now, the human consciousness that we all share is kind of split up into two. Back in the day, they used to call it right brain, left brain stuff. It's kind of not really appropriate or applicable to the way our minds work, as far as I can tell. We do have an emotional, intuitive part to ourselves. We have a rational, intellectual part to ourselves. You will receive information from your beloved spirits in the form of feelings, sensations, and impressions, smells, tastes, visions, all of that. It takes about half a second to a second before our rational mind kicks in and translates what we're receiving in our own voice. So, by a show of hands, how many people here would consider themselves to be an intuitive person? Oh, come on, Stephanie, Mariah, give yourself some credit. All right, give yourself some credit. Okay. Now, if you consider yourself an intuitive person, the only reason you would consider yourself an intuitive person is because at some point in your life, you didn't goddamn listen to it. You felt something about a person or a situation, you got to the other side of it, and you're like, God damn it, should have listened to myself. When you say something to that effect, God damn it, I should have listened to myself, what you're actually saying is, God damn it, I should have listened to Graham. I should have listened to Dad. I should have listened to whoever's over there passing me those messages. And that's where we learn our intuition, trial and error, or trial and learning. So that's another thing that I want you to take away from our time together is that everybody's connected to spirit all the time. You guys have intuitive nudges and sensations and impressions. We're not taught what the language of spirit is. So it takes a guy like me to share with everybody that, hey, you're in connection all the time. Learn to trust that connection. Okay, learn to trust that connection. That's super important. So we've covered some basics. The one-way mirror, the horse and rider. There are some other principles that are going to come up as we move through this. It's hard to connect to spirit and not talk about spiritual principles. But what I want to do is I want to get started with just a very brief meditation. I wouldn't even call it a meditation. I'm going to call it a breathing exercise. So if you've never heard of this, I want you to take this and put this in your toolbox. What we're going to do is we're going to do 3 rounds of what's called the 4-fold breath or box breathing. Now, the 4-fold breath or box breathing, what it is an inhale of 4 seconds, a hold of 4 seconds, an exhale of 4 seconds, and a hold for 4 seconds. You might not be able to do 4. If you can't do 4, do 3. But just remember, we're drawing a box. Inhale, hold, exhale, hold. The 4-fold breath. We're going to do 3 rounds of that. But this is an incredible tool to calm our central nervous system. If you feel all wound up and like, go out on your work break or lunch, knock out 10 of these breaths, and you will literally calm the horse down. Because most often our anxiety comes from the horse, the physical part of us, not fed, not rested, not played. It will dominate because it's the physical part of us in a physical world. We can calm it down most often with breath. So go ahead. Take a big deep breath in and just let it out. You're going to start with a big Let all that tension and nastiness that you've picked up over the course of the day, just let it go. Okay, close your eyes, and we're going to begin with that fourfold breath. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4. Just let your body return to its natural breathing rhythm. And again, very useful tool for your body and mind complex if you haven't used it before. Now, my process is interesting because I am a self-trained medium. So if I ever look at other mediums, I'm like, oh, I don't do it that way. Oh my gosh, people who have gotten training, way different than a person who trains themselves. And that's true for anything, whether it's welding or mediumship or anything. So interesting, what I have done over the course of my group readings is that I have just through my own natural process, I will do something that professional or like mediums in the industry will say is going direct. And what that is that's like going to a person in the crowd, being directed to say Stephanie or Callie or Lori, and going, I've got a message for you. The other way that people do this work is by going, I got a person. This person feels like this, they look like this, they smell and taste like this, all of that. Who here has that person? Okay. Now, that's can be difficult in a big crowd because there's a lot of overlap with people and their people and all of that. But I want to talk to you about the woman that's coming through. So this isn't a situation where I'm going direct to any of you. I'm going to start to describe the woman that's been with me for the past hour or two. And I want somebody here to help me out with this because this is one of your spirits. Okay. This is one of the people attached to you. Okay. The woman, what she's giving me is this. She was quite old, infirm. I see a hospital bed. What she's showing me is that she would have spent some time in this hospital bed, and she's showing me yellow skin, like yellow skin. So the yellow skin would have either been from, it feels like it would be almost like nicotine from smoking. This might be like the jaundice that we get from like cirrhosis or like liver stuff. But this is somebody who is like, she's showing me like in a hospital bed, in her gown, like laying prone. She was there for too long. She did not like it. She was ornery and cranky. And this is an interesting thing because what this is for me is like I get the impression that this woman had a lot of kids, or her kids and grandkids were like her world. She would have really paid attention to them, but there was something that happened, and I'm not sure what it was. It was in her development or in her personality. It feels like people would have either abandoned her or got mad at her, or like distanced themselves from her through maybe a situation or something. But what this is this like my kids were the world. My people were the world. I loved the best I could, but I need to apologize. And I need to thank the person who didn't abandon me. So this is somebody who was with her towards the end. Like she feels very lonely, very, very lonely, like abandoned, like people left her. And maybe this is just one of those products of getting older and people not honoring how sacred our elders are. But there was something about, sorry for being cranky. I'm sorry for being ornery. I want to thank you for being there. Okay, who is this connected to? Anybody here have an ancestor like that? Lori, you got a person that sounds like this? Could you unmute yourself, please?
Yes. Yes, I do. My mother, 7 kids. Um, she devoted her life to us. There were physical and substance issues that caused people to separate, but we all came together at the end, and we were with her when she passed. So thank you.
Absolutely, and thank you for being here because what I have to say to you is this: is it's like again, something that she did pushed people away. At the
Yes.
end, people came back, and she's just very grateful for not being abandoned, not being
Thank you.
abandoned. And that's like, I think no matter where we're at, young, old, it doesn't matter. Abandonment, neglect, betrayal, awful things to go through. Awful, awful things
Right.
to go through. The other thing that's interesting is Lori, your mama, she must have loved animals. She must have
Yes.
loved animals. And the reason why I'm saying this is because what
Yes.
she's telling me now, I'm playing with them. Like I'm playing
Ah,
with them all,
good.
like the pets and all of that. And it's interesting because what she's given me is like, can I ask you, did she farm at all? Was she a farmer? Did she do anything with like livestock?
My grandmother did, her mother. So
Interesting.
yes.
Because this is like
Um,
she's showing me sheep,
I worked
like
I worked with, maybe that's why I worked on a teaching farm. So we would bring kids on field trips for sheep. So I get a chance to work with sheep and cows and all sorts of animals. And my mother's mother had cows. So it could be that connection.
I think what that is, she's showing me sheep is like soft fluffies, like I'm playing with them. She just wants you to know that she's playing with
Okay.
them. Like she's got this is fascinating. Can I ask you, is there a pet cemetery in the family? Like a pet cemetery where like well, I'm seeing like
Our
a pet
backyard.
cemetery
Yes.
like a backyard, yeah, where like
Yes.
multiple pets are buried, like
Yes.
all of that. Okay,
Yes.
those pets are over there. They're there with her.
Ah,
Okay,
right.
and this is interesting because I don't believe, Lori, I don't believe you're an atheist, but I do believe you have siblings or other people that are around you that are
Yes.
atheists. And
Yes.
she's very much like, it doesn't matter what you goddamn believe because we
Right.
carry on. Like
Right.
she's very just like, this is funny. She just spat on the ground. She just
Ah,
showed me spitting
yeah.
on the ground. She's just
Yeah.
very much like salt of the earth, very salt of the earth, very
Right.
salt of the earth. And it's just like, doesn't matter what you believe. But if you could take what we've shared here, Lori,
Right.
and bring it to the people in your family who are non-believers or disbelievers, this is going to be a video that you can share with them. But this is very much like um, she's indicating to me that there's some hopelessness in the family. Like, what
Yeah.
the fuck is the point of it all? Like, why do we do
Right.
this? You know, blah, 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 all of it. And there's
Yeah.
so much point to our existence. I should have also warned everybody here that when I do this, I slip into my grandmother's French. So F bombs are gonna be all over the place tonight. Okay. So
That's
just
okay.
we're all adults,
Thank
we're
you.
gonna have fun. Okay. But what's interesting is okay, so I'm still with you, Lori, and what she's doing is
Yes.
she's indicating that this is interesting because I'm seeing like a quilt or I'm seeing like stitching together, and there's something
Right.
about thank you for caring for my heritage. Thank you for like keeping my memory alive while
Right.
I'm dead, while I'm gone in the world of spirit. Thank you for being there with me and keeping my memory alive in the way that I would appreciate it from the other place. Okay. I
Thank
also
you.
have to ask you
Yes.
here's an interesting thing. Do you have, Lori, in your house a statue of Jesus?
I do, as a matter of fact.
You
I
do.
do.
Okay.
It's the Rio de Janeiro statue from the
This is
Christ statue of from Rio de Janeiro. Do you know it on the mountain? He's got his arm.
yeah,
Yeah.
she appreciates your Jesus statue. I mean, that's
Oh,
really
that's good.
specific to know that that's in that house. Now,
That's
what
it.
else is fascinating is that okay, hold on.
Yeah.
She's with you in your home and she's talking about oscillating between there are some smells in your home that she likes and then there are some smells that she doesn't.
Yes.
So there's something going on here. And
Uh,
like what I would ask of you, and there's no judgment here,
yes.
obviously, no judgment. But
Yep.
there's something about like oftentimes like spirits won't like depending on how it's interacting with their person, sometimes
Right.
spirits won't like cannabis smoke. You know,
Right.
there's like a smell that people's so
Yep.
you know, there's something in your home, and I can't say it's cannabis smoke, I can't say it's
Right.
that, but there's something that is pungent to her. She doesn't like it as a spirit. It's a smell.
Right.
So
Right.
there's other things. Floral smells are really wonderful. She doesn't like what I'm getting is sour smells.
Right.
So this is a fascinating thing. Are you
She had. Well,
canning or
she.
doing anything with vinegar?
No, no, she had, she was you're on the mark of things. One of my brothers, Jehovah's Witness. So when you were talking about religion, so there was a lot with that. There was a family issue that split people apart, after she passed. Um, a, a car crashed into our house. It missed us by a few feet, well, 10 feet. So it's plenty of room. and the house was damaged. It was flooded. It was a couple of years ago, but we're still rebuilding. It feels like they're intuitive. It's something feels off with the house still. There's a lot of repair work contract. There wasn't enough money from the insurance. Person wasn't insured. Um, and the contractors walked off the job. So things weren't repaired. So I don't know if we're up against mold. My mom was always very sensitive to smells. Any cleaners, anything like that, she couldn't take. So I don't know if, um,
No, it's something like that. She likes a lot of the good smells of floral,
okay.
like natural smells, but
Oh,
then there's chemical or pungent
oh,
smells she's not about.
I clean with vinegar. That's where you're getting the
Oh,
vinegar. That's it.
that's what it is.
I was
Okay.
just cleaning today with vinegar. So because I'm sorry, I can't do the chemical smells either. So
Okay.
yeah,
Just make sure, do me a favor, make
sure.
sure that that vinegar isn't like, sometimes vinegar can replicate ammonia.
Yes,
Okay, so sometimes it can be caustic to us just because if we're
right.
inhaling it. So run a
Yes,
fan when you're doing the vinegar stuff. Just there's when she comes through and says, I don't like a smell, it's
right.
not personal preference. There's something about it not being healthy for you.
Okay.
Okay.
I wondered if it
So
was
with her
mold and
fan,
mildew too. If it
yep.
was mold or mildew in the walls that we're not aware of, because
I don't get that. And I can't
okay,
say
good.
that there's not. I can't get that. It's the smell in the air she's indicating.
Okay.
Okay. She's
Is
just
it
indicating.
the cat's litter box?
No,
Very ammonia. Okay.
no, no. What this is like let me just be very clear. This is a
Yes,
smell that you do intentionally. You'll fill it
yes.
up nice, and then you'll fill it up bad. She doesn't like the bad smells, and you're doing it
Right,
intentionally. Okay,
right.
you're doing it intentionally. And she
Yes.
also says that you will notice if any mold or mildew issues are appearing, you'll see troubles in your animals first.
Okay.
You'll just see trouble in your animals first. So thank
Okay.
you. Whatever project you have to preserve her memory, keep going on it. Keep going on it. She really likes what you're doing. So just keep working on that. Okay. I
Sounds
have to
good.
go. And now I'm going direct to
Thank
Mariah.
you.
Mariah, you're very welcome, Lori. Thank you for being here. Mariah, could you unmute yourself, please?
Yeah, hi.
Hi. Okay. So, uh, to explain my process to people, I have to now we're going to dive into a little bit of weirdness. Okay. And I should
hmm
have explained this at the beginning that when I deliver a message to a person, it is for everybody in the group. So Lori's message about her mom and all of that, anybody who would have ever had a similar experience, or anybody who would wonder if spirits regret or have apologies or anything like that, they absolutely do. So my
hmm
message for you, Mariah, isn't right now coming from, oh boy, it's not coming from the dead. It's not coming from the ancestors. And this is something that I don't really publicly talk about because it can weird people out. I do
Yeah.
have a connection with higher spirits, like the spirits that we would call angels. To me, let me be very clear with everybody here because I'm non denominational and I'm non religious. So, those higher frequency beings, the Christian, Catholic, Hebrew angels, to me would also be the Greek and Roman and Norse and Hindu and Egyptian gods and goddesses. There is a
Yeah.
reason why I am tattooed with roses because I am connected to what people would know of as the mother or the mother goddess.
hmm
Okay. You have a deep connection to her. Now, let me
Okay.
explain something to you about this. There's something about her really appreciating your work that you do with kids. Can I ask you, do you teach kids? Do you work with
Yeah.
kids?
I'm a high school teacher.
Yes, very much appreciates the work that you do with kids. The other thing that I have to say to you, and I don't know if you'll do this professionally or not, but the
hmm
message that I have for you is you feel like you are a full-blown medium to me. It feels
Really?
like you have some amazing, amazing intuitive connections. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that you take a hard left and stop teaching kids and go to do this work. That's not what that means. But my
Right.
message is when I was talking to you about intuition, okay, like intuition, that plays a role in what you do as a teacher, doesn't it?
hmm Yeah.
Like you can feel kids, you can feel people, and that helps you. So, that message about intuition is this, okay? Listen to it, learn from it, hone it. It will only help you do whatever you're doing, whether it's personal or professional, it's only going to help you. The other
hmm
thing, too, and be mindful, because I have to be really careful about how I present this piece of information. So I understand the mother to be Mary, like
Yeah.
the Mary from the Catholic Church, the Christians, what have you. That is an example, or an avatar, as I can best describe it, as the mother goddess. When we're looking at Mary of the Catholic Church, we're also looking at the Egyptian goddess Isis. That's
Mhm.
my impression, and that's my experience. The reason why I have to bring this up to you is because working with kids, being a helper, being a savior like you are, it's going to feel very lonely, very hard, all of it. What I need for you to do, please, and take everything that I say with a grain of salt, I want you to find a way to work with the mother goddess. That could be a statue of Mary, that could be a statue of Isis, or a painting simply of a rose,
Okay.
just a rose. Okay. And what that
Yeah.
means is to tap into that love, that grace, that connection that that mother goddess energy has, that angelic energy. Tap into it, and that will sustain you and strengthen you. That's a
Yeah.
big message for you, especially for anybody who would consider themselves to be helpers, who would consider themselves to be helpers. Okay. The next
Mhm.
thing that I have for you too, and I want to describe this man because this is a human man, an ancestor coming through, beloved dad. It's so funny. He's chuckly. He's like a happy-go-lucky guy. This is interesting. Because what he's indicating to me, he's giving me the smell and taste of sawdust. So this is somebody who would have either worked with wood, carpenter, logger, or something like that. That's how they indicate that they would have worked with outside. This guy,
Yeah.
as funny and lighthearted as he is, he's like, I have no patience for people's bullshit. Like, I have no patience for stupid people. I have no patience for idiots. When he was alive, he's indicating to me that, like, I'd give you grace up to a point, but if you were blatantly stupid, I'd have no time for you. This is an
Yeah.
interesting thing of like being playful and loving, but then I want nothing to do with you if you're not with it. Because I think he
Mhm.
would have seen like people that would have not been with it, as he's indicating to me, as like a danger to him and his family. Okay,
Mhm.
here's the interesting thing for you. Did you take care of a grandmother? Because what he's talking to me about is like he wants to thank you for taking care of his wife, like the person he would have left here.
It sounds like my grandpa Bob and my Mimi, his wife, she passed away when I was in 8th grade. So I was like with my mom, but I wasn't like a caretaker. My mom was the caretaker.
Ah, so this is a message for you and your mom of thank you for taking care of the wife that I left behind. Okay. Um,
Yeah.
isn't
Yeah.
it funny? Hold on. She's in spirit too, isn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is funny because what you got to know is they're partying it up. Like they are partying it up. They're like, I would love to have your grandparents as relatives. Okay. I would have loved to have them. They're just it's funny because it's like she also feels like very salt of the earth. Like, I'm gonna sit on the porch, I'm gonna talk to you, we're gonna have, smoke and drink and just, like just real salt of the earth kind of people.
Yep.
There's this message that one, they are together and their adventures continue. Okay,
Hmm.
their adventures continue. This is interesting too. Would you have known your Mimi, as you called her, your Mimi?
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you have known her? And I know that 8th grade was a while ago for you, Mariah, but would you have known her as a woman to take no shit? Like, take
Um,
no shit.
yeah, from adults, yeah. She could be very testy with like my mom and my mom's brothers, my uncles. Yeah.
What's fascinating is that this woman is coming through and saying, thank you for having boundaries. Like you having boundaries, not allowing people to walk all over you, stomp all over you. You somehow, this is interesting. I think that you're the master of the Irish goodbye. Do you know what the Irish goodbye is?
Yeah.
Okay, this is like, I'm not going to make a
Yeah.
big scene. Like, if I'm done with you, I'm just done with you. I'm not going to like, that's a beautiful, healthy thing that's keeping you safe in this world. Keep that up. Maintain your boundaries. And that's interesting because that's very much sounds like what your grandfather would have been about too. I got no
Hmm.
business with anybody. I don't want to deal with them, and I'm just going to cut them off. They're kind of like dead to me. I love
Yeah.
that for you. That's just you're not caught up in your cups or your emotions. It's like, okay. All right. Remember to take everything that I have to say with a grain of salt. That includes everything that your spirits have to say with a grain of salt. What there's okay, I got to honor their message. They're saying that you're not pushing yourself hard enough. Okay. Now,
Yeah.
what this is, hear me out on this, please, because teacher, possibly mom. I don't want to be like, oh, you got to work more. I don't want to do that. But it's like, have you been thinking about going back to school? Have you been thinking about doing like going up in levels? Like I know that teachers can go back to school and get like masters, blah 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 blah. Have you been thinking about getting more training?
I have a master's degree. I'm in a class right now. My husband is in a master's program right now too.
Yeah, this is for you though. So what's your next big accomplishment? Like what is like the thing that's going to challenge you? What is the thing that you want to accomplish? Because there's something about you achieving. Okay, can I ask you, do you collect your degrees like Pokemon? Like are you there's something about you, they're like you need another mountain to climb.
Yeah.
Now, most often
I
when I
mean,
get that message, that's like more schooling.
yeah.
It doesn't necessarily have to be that.
I mean, in terms of like schooling, no, but my husband and I are going through fertility treatment right now. And so like there's obviously issues with me having to lose weight in order to go through fertility treatment. I don't know if that's anything tied to it.
I mean, maybe having a baby is your mountain to climb. I'm not sure. Maybe that's going to take a certain amount of education.
Yep.
Okay. But can I ask you,
Mm-hmm.
and I love this beautiful message that's coming through. So you have a master's degree.
Yep.
I barely have a high school degree. I know it takes a lot of work to do the college thing, the associates, the bachelors, the masters. It took a lot of work, right?
Yep.
Okay. Can I ask you, as you walked through that process of educating yourself, how did you handle it emotionally? Now, here's what I mean by this. You would have gone
Mm-hmm.
to school, you would have stepped into this path, this career path, all of it. You would have gone for your associates, your bachelors, your masters. I think, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I think that your process there was very methodical. Like methodical, like I'm just going to do it. I'm going to go, I'm going to do the class, I'm going to do the paper, I'm going to do that. Not too
Yeah.
much in your cups, very methodical and rational in terms of getting through it. I want
Yeah.
you to take that, I want you to take almost that clinical detachment that is required to get through schooling like that, like you brought to your schooling. And I want you to
Yeah.
take that clinical detachment and I want you to bring that to your fertility treatments. What that means is that study your body, study,
Yeah.
the losing weight journey is something that everybody pretty much has to battle with.
Yeah.
Study your body, study this process, but try not to get too emotional about it.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just because if you get too emotional about it, then it's going to affect your inflammation and stress has that, you're going to be
Yeah.
accomplishing the opposite of what you want to accomplish with your body.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Here's an interesting thing that I have for you. So this mother goddess energy that I'm connected to, she's been with us forever, like
Right.
forever. Like if you've ever heard of the Venus of Willendorf, like those figures, Neolithic age, big-breasted, big-hipped women, that's the mother goddess. That is the mother goddess. That's Mary of today.
Yeah.
Now, I want you to do this, please. Remember, no guarantees, and please take everything with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
I don't know where you live, but here's what I want you to do. I want you to make your way to the ocean, and I want you to speak to the ocean, and I want you to say a prayer for this journey of yours.
Mm-hmm.
And then what you have to do, Mariah, is you got to, I know it sounds hokey, but this is very much like let go, let God, trust the
Yeah.
process. But there's something about getting to the ocean. I'm not sure where you're living, but this is like, like I'm feeling a body of water. I want to negotiate with them and go, oh, lake, river. Nope. I'm getting salty, beach, water, all of it. So get to the ocean, say a prayer to the ocean. Mary, the word Mary means ocean, means sea.
Yeah.
This is why she's covered, like whenever you see a Catholic or a Christian Mary, she's covered in blue. That indicates the sky and the ocean. It's that energy.
Yeah.
Go communicate with that energy. Again, I can't guarantee you anything. I can't promise you anything, but get into the ocean and saying a prayer. Certainly ain't going to cost you anything, ain't going to hurt.
Yeah. Perfect. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you for this. I have to go to Stephanie now. Hi, Stephanie. Hi.
Hi.
Okay, Stephanie. All right. Shifting very quickly to you. Can I ask you, here's a funny question. Are you investigating Are you searching for something? Are you hunting for something?
I had a complete life change in January.
Say it again for me.
I had like a complete life change in January. My whole belief system, my world was upside down.
Interesting. Okay. I'm not sure what this is, but I want to pass this message off to you. Okay. Like, and this is important for you because this is exploration, investigation, and I'm seeing books, like books. This woman, this is funny. Can I ask you, the mother of your mother, your grandmother on your mother's side, was she Catholic?
The mother of my mom. Yeah, I think my whole family was Catholic.
Ah, okay. Because this feels like the mother of your mother. Okay. I got some Catholic vibes here. She's asking, it's like I'm seeing library and bookshelves and all of that. And she goes, explore, investigate. This is almost like you would have, say, like a family mystery. You know, like I'm like, I need to like dig in and find out and like discover things. So it kind of feels almost like ancestry or genealogy. And if it's not that, and it's a spiritual route, if you are flipping over rocks and discovering, investigating, researching, keep doing that, keep going in that direction. Now, it's at this point, Stephanie, that I have to bring something to you. Remember how I said there's going to be some spiritual principles that come out of this whole experience? Okay. One of the things that I've discovered about being a spiritual person or walking a spiritual path is that a spiritual path or a spiritual practitioner worth their salt will always point a person back to the authority of their own spirit. I got to repeat that to you. A spiritual practitioner or a spiritual path worth their salt will always point a person back to the authority of their own spirit. So, what that means is, this is some Jesus talk. And Jesus said, the kingdom of God lives within you. That's what he's actually talking about. Like, you are God, you are source, you are a spirit that is broken off the big collective to come experience life. But what I need you to know is that through all of your searching, through all of your investigating, like reading books, learning about different things, any spiritual anything, whether it's Hinduism, Buddhism, Islam, Christianity, any religion out there, should always be pointing you back to the authority of your own spirit. Okay, super important. Now, it's interesting. I want to ask you, it feels like spice jars, What I'm seeing is like a row of little jars. Can I ask you, do you have spices and herbs in your kitchen? Do you cook with spices?
Yes, I do.
Okay. I want to also ask you, do you cook in a way that honors your heritage?
Half, half. Yeah. Yes, sometimes.
Well, you certainly don't sound like you're from Vermont, so
Not quite. Germany.
Germany. Okay, excellent. So what's fascinating is those, it almost looks like, how do I say, the little round jars of like pizza cheese or hot pepper flakes that you'd see at a pizza place. I'm seeing small round jars, and they like that. Your spirits like that. I want to ask you, do you do the cooking and the baking?
I do. I live by myself, so yes, I do.
So, well, people who live by themselves might just eat TV dinners all night. You know what I mean? Like,
No. I
you
cook.
cook and you bake. Okay. Interesting. You also have animals, pets?
No, not anymore because I work. I work a lot, and from when I leave, I work at a community college. I'm an English instructor. So from when I leave till I come back is 11 and a half hours. I need 8 hours of
Oh,
sleep, so there's not much
yep.
time, for a pet.
Let me let me
Sorry.
let me illustrate something to you because everything that I'm getting about you, and this is for everybody here in this session as well. This is funny because this woman's like, you should know this. Pardon me. That's her message. So let me illustrate to you what she means when she says you should know this. You're a kitchen witch. What that means is that have you heard of Reiki? Do you know what Reiki is?
I know.
So it's like energy healing, energy manipulation, all of that. So everybody has a little bit of kitchen witchery. They can manipulate energy and move energy, what have you. But there are some people that are way up here on the scale. And what they have is they have the ability to imbue energy into food. This is that idea of like mom's cooking's the best, grandma's cooking's the best. That's sort of a cliche, but what it is the actual energetic transference into what I believe to be the water molecules. This is why whenever we cook or bake, anything we cook or bake with has water in it. This is interesting because I think when you say your entire belief systems got flipped on its head, I want to talk to you about some more new agey concepts. Every human being has an aura, an energetic field. This is kind of where our chakras live and what have you. When you are cooking and baking, everything that you cook and bake with is in your energetic field. So when you're feeling love or hope or anything like that, you're imbuing that energy into your food. If you're angry, don't eat that food. Don't cook or bake when you're angry. The reason why I asked you if you have pets is because this is something that you can do for your pets. Okay, for your pets. And what I mean by that is, you know, should you have pets in the future, or you have loved ones who have pets that might be suffering or have a sickness or an illness, you can make them food, of course, appropriate to their diet and what they should be eating as an animal, but you can make them food and do healing work with them. It's interesting too. I want to also ask you, Stephanie, because I'm tasting carrots when I'm connected to you, and the carrots, what that means, generally speaking, is carrots. When I taste carrots, that's a symbol that people have a tendency for glaucoma, cataracts, macular degeneration. Do you have anything with your eyes in your family? Do you have genetic glaucoma, cataracts, macular degeneration? Okay.
Yes, my mom.
Okay, so what that means is that spirit will give me the taste of carrots as this indication that you are in need of vitamin A, beta
And my
carotene.
grandmother, my maternal grandmother, actually was almost blind when she died, when she passed.
Ah, so this is something that you're carrying down through that genetic line of your women. Okay, so get carrots in or take a beta carotene supplement, do something for the health of your eyes. Beta carotene is really big. Now, this is interesting because some of the things that I do will correspond to health stuff. Now, I want to ask you, because of what I'm receiving for you, I'm not sure if you've ever worn jewelry as piercings. If you've ever worn, like, if you've ever had your ears pierced or any piercings, would you have, Stephanie, like a reaction or a rash to crappy metal?
Yes, I can only wear like gold
Okay.
or what is it, stainless steel, you know.
Okay, so you're not going to like what I'm about to say to you, but I'm going to save your life here with this. Okay, this is a little wild, and I want you to take everything that I say with a grain of salt. But when I pick up on that in a person, that they have a sensitivity to junk metals and piercings, that's an indication that they should not dye their hair.
Okay.
Because what happens is
That
you
that's
have
my,
this reaction to metal,
you know.
right? You have this reaction to metal. So when you dye your hair, you're sitting with some really caustic, awful chemicals. Your scalp is a sponge, it's absorbing those chemicals.
Yeah, my hair is
So,
gray. I let it
okay,
grow.
wonderful. I can't tell. It looks a little
No,
orange from here. Like I can see a little
no,
orange down
it's my
here.
hair.
If you're not dyeing your hair, perfect. Okay. Anybody here that has a reaction to jewelry like that, and they choose to dye their hair, try to go as organic and natural as possible. Like Stephanie and everybody else here, I have given this message to people before, and some people will look right at me and go, I don't care if I dye early, I'm going to dye my hair. I'm like, okay. And the only bring that up to you is because like I'm a big believer in the democracy of our body. As long as you don't hurt anybody else, do what you want with your own body. That's your gift, to be here. So if you take that information and you choose to dye your hair, knowing that you might be shaving 10 or 15 years off your life, that's your choice and that's what you can do with your body. I just have to give that information to you. The next thing that I'm being drawn to is your wrists. Do you have carpal tunnel? Do you have anything that is going on in your wrists, broken or carpal
Yeah,
tunnel?
arthritis and age and use wear and tear. Yep.
I have something interesting to tell you about that, about inflammation, arthritis, body stuff. Your spirits want you to play tennis. Did you ever play tennis?
No, no.
Okay. What I want you to do is I want you to figure out how to find. Do you have around you, Stephanie, pickleball? Do you know what pickleball is?
I heard of it. We offer it at my college. They have like a pickleball club or something like
Okay,
that.
go play. Okay, go play. And I think it's like if I'm correct, it's a smaller version of tennis. It's almost like big ping pong, smaller tennis. Maya, or Maya, is it Maya, Maya? Okay. Unmute yourself, Maya, please. I need to know how to
It's
pronounce some of these
Maya.
names.
Yeah, Maya.
Maya, thank you for that. Thank you for that. Okay. Stephanie, go find some pickleball. Go move your body in a joyful way. And what this is endorphins, serotonin, dopamine. Okay, so kind of get your body. This is fascinating because when I tell you that you should go play tennis, it almost feels like you should go play tennis again. That's why I've asked you if you've ever done it. Can I ask you, did you ever have any sort of sport or workout thing that you used to do on a regular basis?
Never. I rode my bike like crazy everywhere. Like an hour and a half to work, hour and a half home when I lived in Frankfurt. I swam a lot. I ski. I like all the outdoor things, you know. But like I live in North Carolina and it's so hot. It's just so hot outside. It makes it more difficult. I have a street bicycle, like with skinny tires, and I have a mountain bike. But I don't use it much because I'm burning out. And you get run over. I don't live in a city that's conducive. I don't live in a city at all. I live in the middle of nowhere. So the cars will kill you. You can't. You can't.
What I would like you to do is I'd like you to find out if that pickleball court is on the inside.
Hmm. It's
Sometimes it might be outside, might be inside.
yeah.
But move that body, move that body. Also, okay, more messages for you. Here we go, more messages for you. Please don't take this as a judgment. There's a reason why Spirit's coming through about this, and it might actually have to do with North Carolina. I'm not sure what this is. Your spirits need you to do Christmas better. Okay, Christmas better. Now, let me tell you what that message means as I give it to people, because I don't want you to think that it has anything to do with religion. I don't want you to think it has anything to do with money or gift giving. What this is this is, and this is old world Christmas. This has got to be the stuff that you would have done in Germany. The Christmas, the Yule, the midwinter stuff. I don't believe that in the past few years you've done yourself justice in terms of bringing yourself vitamin joy. Here's another spiritual principle that I believe in: vitamin joy. We need to actively go get joy like a vitamin. Christmas, midwinter Yule, it happens when it happens because it's the darkest time of the year. It's the shortest day, longest night. We need the smells, the taste, the colors, the sounds, all of it. They're literally showing me clogs, Stephanie. Or do you come from the part of Germany that has clogs, little pointed shoes, painted pointed shoes, wooden shoes?
Well, it's more like a thing in the Netherlands, but like I have clothes,
Netherlands, Austria, okay.
because we wore them back. I was born in the 60s, so maybe in the 70s. We had these
Ah,
closed
okay.
cloths, and I had them too. Yeah.
Gotcha. What this is I believe what they're trying to tell me is like old world European Christmas traditions, things that would have happened,
That here. And it's my favorite time, but I know.
Yeah, North Carolina there's no snow. So it's difficult to get into the Christmas spirit.
I
So
know.
do this for me. And I think this is really important for everybody to hear. Our five senses that we have are so important to us because they are windows to the spirit. They're portals to the spirit. And what I mean by that is when I say get vitamin joy with the things that you look at, the things that you hear, the things that you taste, the things that you smell, the things that you feel. All of those senses are medicines. There are avenues for that medicine, that vitamin joy to get to our spirit. So, smells, taste, sounds, sights, all of it, which means that you might do yourself well when it gets to that season to watch like a 20-minute video on YouTube of Christmas in Germany, just to shift that perspective so you can see it and get more into the spirit of the season. Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Last thing, and again, this is interesting, Stephanie, with you. Last thing that I want to bring up to you. God damn it. And this is medical stuff too. So I got to be very careful how I deliver this because this isn't medical advice or diagnosis. Can I ask you, do you have a torn muscle like right here? Do you have like something in your upper chest that's like torn or that hurts?
Not that I know of. Not
Hmm.
that I know of.
Well, as a woman, who was born in the 60s, this is my opportunity to say, make sure that you're, getting your mammograms, make sure that you're doing all that, getting all your stuff taken care of, all of that to whatever degree. But it's interesting. There's no tattoo or anything on your chest. There's nothing like a
No,
scar, birthmark.
I do have tattoos. Like I have a song on my back, the whole lyrics, and I have a song on my leg, and I, have a couple of things like made in Germany, but nothing on my nothing on my torso in the front.
This might be something that populates later. Be careful that you don't pull a muscle. And
Okay.
well, how about this? If you do decide to sign up for pickleball, take it
Of
easy.
course. Yeah, I know.
Go into it gently, because I mean, there's a lot of that movement of the chest. You could rip muscles, tear muscles, all of that. But it does. What I have to make sure that I tell you is it doesn't feel tumorous. It doesn't feel cancerous. Doesn't feel that way. It feels like you've got like a bulge of a muscle. Like it feels muscular. So just be mindful of how you manage your muscles whenever you're working out. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, it's interesting. Now they want me to. They're bringing my attention to your jaw, like TMJ or teeth stuff or something here. Do you have anything going on here?
That's it.
Be mindful of teeth. Laura, you got stuff like that? Okay. So again, this is going to be, oh, you've got the shoulder thing too? Okay. So,
Yes.
okay. So wires are getting
Shoulder.
crossed with the little family that we're making
Yeah.
here. Okay. Wires are getting crossed. So
Yeah.
please understand, if what I share with people here doesn't apply to you, make sure that, everybody else here is listening. I now have to go to Callie. Callie, could you unmute yourself, please? Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you for this.
Hey,
All right, Callie. So I want to talk to you about what I've got for you. Okay.
okay.
Crazy little dog energy, crazy little dog energy, hyper little dog energy, yipping, 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 yipping. I can hear yips. The other thing that this dog does, this male dog, is giving me the smell of farts, like dog farts, like farts, farts, farts. Like this dog just farted, gassy fart, like appreciates this. I also want to talk to you, Callie. The dog that you've lost most recently, you spoke to this animal like a human, yes?
Yes, very much so.
Like you this is interesting. Like you had conversations. Okay.
Oh
So
yeah,
something that
yeah.
like what I need everybody here to understand, because there's a lot of animal lovers and pet lovers on this. Here's something that I have found. Our animals and our pets, they carry on. Now, what's interesting, because there's a lot of seekers, curiosity seekers here with us today, this is what happens. Not every dog, not every cat, not every deer, not every wolf or bear carries on in the world of spirit. What causes that spirit to carry on is the love we give it. As soon as we name, we like what I'm describing to you here is something that we can do to trees. If we come into relationship with a living thing and we give it a sense of self, we name it, we love it, what that does is that causes that spirit to evolve so then it maintains its identity in the world of spirit and it can reincarnate, it can stay there for you. What's fascinating to me is this. Okay. This dog is indicating to me that it does not like the smell of cat piss. Like cat piss,
That's
does not like the smell
probably
of cat
true.
piss. Like just doesn't like the smell of cat piss. And what's fascinating to me is that make sure any cats that you bring into your house are litter trained. Okay, like litter trained, because this is a
I had
thing. What I'm seeing. Oh, sorry, not to, no, 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 no. I just got to keep. Let me get it out. I don't mean to interrupt you, but let me get it out. What I'm seeing is like the part of like kitchen cupboards. There's like this little area, like the bottom of the cupboard, and then there's like this little indent that it goes down to. That space in there, you must have had a cat pee in there or something. I'm not sure what it is, but that dog does not like. Let me explain something to you and everybody here, because this is how animals interpret us. Animals read our aura, like the energy that we broadcast out, and that aura will change colors based on the emotions that we feel. Animals will look at us and go, okay, She's a nice blue. She's calm. She's cool, relaxed. Oh my gosh! Now she's turning orange and red. She's pissed off at something, So they follow our emotions, and they make a connection between the things that cause us to have those emotions. Like, this is funny. What I'm getting from this animal is you would come home, you would be a little bit hangry, you'd be a little bit bitchy and cranky, you're gonna bitch and like be blah, 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 blah. You're gonna get your shit out of you. What a fucking day it was today, blah, 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 all of that. Then you're gonna have something to eat. Your auric energy, your color changes because your blood sugar fixes, your aura changes color because you've gotten a little bit of food in you, and that makes them happy. So you developed this relationship where your well-being was directly core, like that animal was all about your well-being and would respond to the things that would cause you to be certain colors. So may I ask you, Callie, you also have a pet graveyard? Like a
Kind of.
pet cemetery?
I have a little altar with their urns.
Okay. So interesting. The dog that you lost recently, a smaller dog, like a toy dog, smaller dog. Okay.
Yep.
This dog, this dog has big dog energy. Big dog energy. This dog has big dog energy. And this dog is asking you to put the urn front and center, not to the side, not to the side, but I want to be the most important. Like, make
Yes,
it the
sir.
biggest urn, biggest center, like right there. I want to be the most important. Don't you dare give other animals more attention than me. So this was a little spoiled brat. A little spoiled brat. Yes, okay. So I need you to remember that they carry on in the world of spirit. They are with us, they are around us. And here is something, Callie, that I need you to know. When I'm talking to you about them recognizing your energetic signature, they do that from the world of spirit. And now this is a part of my message that a lot of people have difficulty with. I don't think anybody here is going to have difficulty with this, but some people have difficulty with this message because some people don't want to be held accountable for their actions. This is the message. If we want our people in spirit or our pets in spirit to rest in peace, we have to live in peace. Okay. Now, what this means, now I'm going to give you this example, Callie. Imagine if, God forbid, you died, okay, and you were on the other side of that one-way mirror and you're watching your pooch, you're watching your family, okay. You would want the best for that dog. And if you saw that dog suffering at all, it would cause you to suffer in the world of spirit. Now, what that is and what I've explained is just the nature of love. I've got a husband. I want him to be at peace. I have to focus on my peace. I can't worry about his peace. He has to worry about that. But I'm not going to contribute to his suffering by holding on to my own. Now, I have a grandmother in spirit that I would do anything to make sure she rests in peace. The only thing that I can do from where I'm at to make sure she rests in peace is to concentrate, focus, and prioritize on my own. I would do anything to give my grandmother peace, which means whenever I am encountering something that's negative, that pulls me down emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually, I focus on my peace because I know that ripples out to the people that I love, ripples out to my dogs at home because they don't want to see me coming home all upset. And it gives my grand peace because she's watching her grandson be at peace. This is an important message for everybody because a lot of people in this world get raised to not prioritize their own peace, to put themselves last, to put everybody else first. And that's not healthy love. We have to take care of us. When I take care of me, I'm taking care of my grandmother's grandson. Okay? When you take care of you, you're taking care of your pooch's mama. And that is a sacred duty. Okay? So what's interesting, and I don't know why I have to say this to you because I think it applies to everybody, oftentimes we don't handle grief well. Oftentimes we will stay in grief, in a deep entrenchment of grief, because we feel like we're paying homage or tribute to the ones that we've lost. It's almost like wearing grief like a badge of honor. Like, hey, Graham, watch how much I'm hurting. If I can carry this pain, that's a testament to you. That is so backwards. That is so backwards. And that actually speaks to a spiritually bereft society, a spiritually sick society. We really are. So when you focus on your well-being, emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, and you move towards that, you are giving that, passing that right through to everybody that loves you. So don't feel selfish taking a break from work. Don't feel selfish doing the things for you that give you peace, love, and happiness. Because as you do, that passes that peace, love, and happiness. I don't know what his name was, but I'm getting like Sarge, Captain. Like this dog wants to be like here. Like I am the top. I am the best. What was his name?
His name was Gizmo, but I used to call him Boss Man or my boss.
Yes, man. Yeah, Sarge, Captain, way up here. Okay, so and like this is something, Callie, that I think has been an issue for you over the course of your life. Treating yourself well, taking care of yourself, being mindful of your well-being and all of that, knowing that you deserve the best. But let me illustrate this to you very clearly. Your best is boss man's best. And you would do anything to give him the best, right? That means you have to give yourself the best until you cross the rainbow bridge and you're reunited with him. Okay? So thank you for being here. I have to move up to Karen. Okay, Karen, here we are. Okay, Karen, hello. Now, full transparency for everybody here. Karen has been to another one, like one of these sessions that I've hosted, and Karen and I have sat together, I think, for a 90-minute session. She got a one-on-one session with me, and so I know Karen a little bit. Just want to let everybody know that. I don't remember what we specifically talked about. But here's an interesting thing, Karen, for you, and this is why you come right after Callie. Remember how I said that there was a number of spiritual principles that I would have to share over the course of tonight? Here's one that I want to share. And as I share it, I am to celebrate you, Karen, for emulating it. Okay. So I want to like give you praise because this feels like a shift in your perspective, the way that you see things, a shift in terms of how you're looking at life and getting through life since we've last spoke. And this is how I want to celebrate you. And this is something that I want to give to Callie as well, and everybody here. So one of the purposes to life, there are many purposes to life, but one of the purposes that I believe very deeply in is that we are on vacation. Now, we define a vacation as a temporary place where we go to enjoy ourselves. Earth is a temporary place that we're supposed to enjoy ourselves. Not many people do. A lot of people think it's hell on earth and what have you. But this is a vacation. You are here temporarily. The people that we lose to spirit, they go home. Now we take that analogy a step further. We are on a camping trip. When you go camping, you're supposed to leave it better than you found it. That's a level of stewardship that we're all collectively missing, that we're not leaving it better than we found it. Karen, I want to appreciate you on understanding the ecstatic, temporary joy that being alive can bring us. And thank you for prioritizing that in your own life, because as you give yourself joy, you are giving your loved ones in spirit joy. And that's the big one. That's the big lesson that I think you've learned since we've sat together, is that when you focus on your peace, your healing, your well-being, your joy, you pass that directly to everybody that loves you. And then you become an example. Okay. You become an example to the people around you, your friends, your family, your community, all of that. We all have to collectively look at grief differently. I was reading something or listening to something the other day, and somebody was saying, nobody celebrates death anymore. And I'm like, celebrates death. And the fact that death is a graduation. Like when people die, they move on to the next step. They move into the next world. They move into the next step in their evolution, all of that. This is almost like, sending people off on their honeymoon, celebrating them, letting them go, have fun. I'm going to see you again soon. Go do your thing, all of that. I do want to make sure that you understand I don't know why I just heard this message, Karen. You're living like Madonna, not like the Madonna, but like 80s singer Madonna. Okay. Now, if I hear that you're living like Madonna, what this means is, as far as I can tell, no shame, no apology, fully embracing life, fully embracing my power, fully stepping into the temporary time that I'm here to fully execute why I'm here, my sole purpose, all of that. Everything that I've got for you, Karen, today, and this is important, A plus, thumbs up, good marks, red check mark. I don't know what you've done since we have last sat, but, and I know that I don't have this opportunity to share you with everybody here, but I am supposed to tell you that you've graduated, like somehow change shifted, and that you are a role model for everybody else here. Fearless, shameless, apologyless, all of that, and you are going to have the best life. You were like this when I sat with you. What I'm supposed to say is, you've just increased it. It's gone up. And so no apology, no shame. And you are a role model for anybody else that's around you or gets to know you. Thank you for being here. All right. Next one, last one, Maya. Here we go. All right. So if you could unmute yourself, please.
Yeah.
Okay. So I've got some strangeness for you here. And full transparency, Maya is another medium. I met Maya a couple of months ago when I went to do a training with a guy named John Holland. I was just like, shit, I want to go see what other people who are doing this in a training way are doing. So we connected. We did. I connected with just a handful of people there. We connected. We had some awesome readings that we shared with one another. But here is something that I have to tell you that is completely strange and completely weird. And again, I have to offer some context. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So what you're witnessing is me getting a message from spirit that my ego, my identity, who Josh is having a difficult time delivering. Now, if I don't deliver this message, just for people who are curious about this process, if I don't deliver this message, I get shut off. If I don't say the word in the sentence, I don't get the word that's coming. So the message that I'm about to deliver to Maya is difficult for me as an individual to deliver, but I have to have faith and trust that it's coming from spirit and that she needs to hear it. And I give this to you, Maya, as a way to understand, like, I need you to understand, I'm not a religious person. Okay? Not a religious person, but spirit needs you to. Spirit needs you to deepen your connection to Jesus. Okay. So hold on a moment. Hold on a moment. Okay, so this is weird sci-fi shit. So I got to tell you, like, what's going on here.
Not
Okay.
too weird. It's okay.
Okay. I just have to be really careful with people and religious trauma and all of that stuff. And I get it because I'm not a Christian. Jesus wasn't a Christian. Okay. So here's some context for everybody. As I have interpreted the energy of Jesus, he feels to me like a saint. So I'm going to give you some layers to the world of spirit, just so you can understand how I've interpreted it. So let's say we have a layer above us that's our beloved dead, our ancestors, our friends, what have you, our pets. Above them, there is a layer of spirit that I call the mighty dead. These are our saints. These are our bodhisattvas, our ascended masters. Above them are those angels and those gods. The difference being the angels and the gods were never human. The mighty dead, the saints, the bodhisattvas, all of them, they were human. They've evolved in spirit. So when I'm saying you connect to Christ a little bit, this is that idea of Christ consciousness. Not necessarily like Jesus. This is like unity consciousness, Christ consciousness. As I'm getting this is like solar energy, the energy of the sun, the energy of the light, all of that. Interesting that I would have to say this to you because I'm sharing a little bit of my process here. Okay. And not that I keep it secret, but it's not anything that I make public. But before I step into this, what I do, and I'll show you, it's not a rosary, it's a mala, it's prayer beads. So I have a set of malas, and just so everybody knows, I got a weird thing with 4-leaf clovers. On the other side of my clover is the mother energy again.
Oh.
And I say a set of prayers. And I also call in help, the helping spirits that help me do what I do. I talk to the mother, and I have this habit of calling upon Christ Jesus. not Jesus Christ, but Christ Jesus as an ascended master, as a saint to help me do what I do. This is something that will deepen you and your connection to spirit, asking for that help from, again, remember, non-denominational, and who the hell am I to say that you need help? But when you go to do this work, your prayers, your help, you're asking for help is
Yeah.
interesting. Now, as a medium, I need to bring this to you. Okay. So just so you know, Maya, this is interesting, and I'll tell people about this. Isaac and I went on vacation last week, went to the ocean, went to Salem, went to Boston, got down south. And one of the things that we did is we went to actually go see John Holland, like a show of his.
Yeah.
He was doing a show as a medium with another medium who's a spirit artist. Like he would connect to people and he'd start drawing the faces of the beloved dead. It was wild. It was wonderful to see.
Yeah.
But what I noticed about that is, and again, I think that was the first, maybe second one that I've actually been to. And what they'll do professionally is they'll just kind of do a little brief intro and then they'll go, okay, I got this person, got this person. I got this person, I got this person. They don't deliver a lot of messages of wellness, like, in terms of mental, emotional, spiritual health. That's something that spirit prioritizes through me. But it basically got to the end of that session and it was like, oh, we're done. Have a good night. Go home. Now, that's not knocking them in any way.
Yeah.
But what I need to show you and everybody here is that as this process has developed organically for me, so what spirit has done is spirit has given me like a conclusion, like this is how I'm supposed to end all of my events. And this is interesting, Maya, that I have this time with you because one, what I'm about to share with you comes from those higher spirits, comes from the angels, the gods. This information that I'm about to share, or the process, excuse me, the process I'm about to share with you comes from them. And so what I want to do is I want you, to sit there and be a participant in this and understand that as I walk you through this process, this is for you as a human being. As I give you this process, this is for you to take and in your own way, bring to your work and bring to the people that you sit with. Okay. So what I usually do at the beginning of my events, and I didn't do it this time, is that I usually promise everybody the secret to life. The secret to life. Okay. Some of you might have heard of this through me before, but you got to hear it again. So here is the secret to life. The secret to life is a process of 3 questions that I've got to ask you and everybody here. So Maya, I'm going to work with you. I'm going to ask you questions, but I'm going to be asking everybody these questions, and everybody who hears these questions, answer them on the inside. Don't vocalize them. Don't take the energy to vocalize them. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask everybody to do this for me, and Maya, I'm going to be working with you. I want everybody here to put into their mind, hold in their mind, the physical, cosmetic part of themselves that they dislike the most. We live in America and everybody's got something, whether it's their face, their hair, their weight, whatever it is. I want you to think about something of your physical body that you dislike. Everybody got it? Give me a nod. Everybody's got that thing in their head? Okay. What I want you to do now is I want you to compartmentalize your mind. I want you to cut your mind into 2, split your mind into 2. So now you have 2 parts to your mind. On one side of your mind, you have what you tell yourself about that part of yourself. On the other part of your mind, though, I want you to put in that part of your mind what you would tell somebody you love if they felt that way about themselves. I want you to think about a daughter or a sister or a best friend thinking about that part of themselves in that way, and I want you to put that in your mind. What would you tell your daughter, your sister, your best friend if they felt that way about that part of themselves? And what I want everybody here to do is compare and contrast the thing you tell yourself to the thing that you would tell somebody you love. It's really different, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Way different. Okay. So now what I want you to do is everybody here, we're going to put a pin in that one. We're going on to the next question. I want everybody here to put into their mind their biggest regret, shame, or guilt. Now, if you have a lot of them, just pick one from your basket. Regret, shame, or guilt. Put it in your mind. Everybody give me a little nod when they got one.
Yeah.
Stephanie, you got one? Give me a little nod, or got a regret, shame, or guilt. Okay. On the other side of that line in your mind, I want you to put there what you would tell a daughter, a sister, a best friend if they felt that way about that circumstance. How many of you here would want to shake their shoulders? Like, what are you thinking? How could you think that? What are you doing thinking that? That's wild. That's amazing. Like, okay. The secret to life is this. The answer to a simple question. What would I tell my kid? What would I tell my kid? And I know that this might be oversimplification, but here's what I want you to see. Any challenge that you have on the inside of you, any challenge that you have on the outside of you can pretty much find a solution when you ask yourself, what would I tell my kid? What would I tell my best friend? What would I tell my sister? The reason why this process works, and this is so important that everybody understand this, because this is the difference between having a wonderful life or a life that you will regret.
Mhm.
When you ask yourself that question, you get an answer that comes from love. And what I have found about love is this. Love is not the stupid emotion that makes us vulnerable or weak. Love is the greatest source of strength and wisdom you will ever have access to. It is literally our superpower. What I mean by this is this. When you have to carry a burden for somebody you love, you will find the strongest version of yourself. When you have to solve a problem for somebody you love, you will find the smartest version of yourself. Imagine what would happen if you turned that energy onto yourself.
Mhm.
Imagine. Now, everybody here has an expiration date. I have a day that I'm going to die in this world. Everybody here has a day that they're going to pass from this world. And when we pass, we go through a life review. We look at the things that we did, we look at the things that we didn't do. And I cannot begin to describe you how many beautiful souls pass from this world, look back on their life, the 60, 70, 80 years that they lived, and they go, I was beautiful. I was gorgeous. I was a walking miracle. How could I have hated myself? The reason that we feel this way about ourselves is we live in a sick world. We do. I'm not going to get up on a soapbox here, but every woman on this call who feels badly about her body does so because she grew up in a world that said maybe she's born with it, maybe it's Maybelline. And I want everybody here to understand that if you were alive 10,000 years ago, every single person here would be too busy pulling fish out of the river to feed their family than to worry about what their reflection was in it. And we cannot spend these beautiful lives of ours hating our body because some corporation convinced us to. Now, that goes to every other programming, conditioning that we get along the way. Now, question for you, Maya. You like to make lists, yes?
Yeah,
Okay.
a lot.
No, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. But this is an interesting thing that I want everybody to know is that when I do these events, Spirit will have lined you up in a certain order. And I always end my events on the person who loves to make lists. You know, here's why. Because this is a list that will solve pretty much everything that you've got going on. You take a blank sheet of paper, you draw a line down the middle. On the left-hand side, you write down all your bullshit, stuff in your heart, stuff in your mind, stuff in your life. On the other side of that line, you write down what you would tell a child to do with it. Tell your best friend, tell your sister, and that becomes your religion. That becomes your guiding light. Your heart, your spirit knows. It does. You've just been convinced away from it. Now, as a person that's done this a lot, what I have found is that I get a lot of people who come to me and they're like, what do I do in my business or my work? What do I do in my relationship? What do I do with this? And while I can offer opinions from spirit, I can offer clarity and perspective from spirit. My sacred duty is to make sure everybody understands that the spirit that they have has wisdom and grace and love and strength. And if you tap into it, your life will change. Now, why do I do this? Like, why do I do this? I do this. Like, I have what I call my old man walk. Every morning, I go for my old man walk. Not because I am an old man, but because I want to be an old man. And when I go on that walk, I touch base with myself. What's going on mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually? Where am I being challenged? And then, what would I tell my kid to do with those challenges? And I
Mhm.
think of those answers, and then I walk in that direction.
Yeah.
I move in that direction because I know that is the smartest, wisest, strongest answer that I could ever come up with. And in fact, if I was in conflict with somebody, I would be terrified to be in conflict with somebody who was coming from a place of love. I would want them to be full of fear and hatred. If I had to fight or be in conflict with somebody who was coming from a place of love, I would know that I was dealing with their smartest, their strongest version.
Mhm.
That should give you a different perspective on what love can do for you. Okay. So this is why Jesus was said, kingdom of God is on the inside. It's all about the love. So we got to look at love through a different lens. Now, I promise you guys, well, hold on. Another thing that I have to tell you about this process. I think this is about strength. So everybody here knows who Mark Zuckerberg is, right? The Facebook guy.
Mhm.
Guy who owns and runs Facebook. Okay. When that guy is not in front of Congress testifying in a suit, he's always wearing jeans and a gray t-shirt. Do you guys know why he does that? He does that because he understands the human being has a certain amount of steam to spend throughout the day. He doesn't want to spend any of his steam on making a decision about his outfit. He just wears jeans and a gray t-shirt, so he doesn't put any ounce of thought to that. This is why there's a science to willpower, because most people fall off the wagon around 4 o'clock because they've made too many decisions. And if you're looking to like quit something, cigarettes, alcohol, or whatever, all of that wisdom and the rehabilitation field will be like, limit your decisions. Don't put any energy towards those thoughts. Make sure that you're wearing the same outfit every day because you got to keep that strength up. I want everybody here to think about what I was just telling you. The physical cosmetic thing, the regret, the shame, the guilt, those things that you sit with every single day, they're taking energy from you.
Mhm.
They're taking energy from you. It's causing energy. It's just like you're spinning plates on the inside. If you can drop those plates and start to tell yourself what you would tell anybody else, look at how much more strength you get back for the battles that you don't have a choice in. This is why mastering our mind and what we're telling ourselves is vital. And the way we can do that is tapping into the wisdom of our own spirit. With that being said, the last question. And I'm going to ask you this question, and it's a doozy. And I want everybody to put this in their mind. Okay, now I might have a unicorn or two on here that can't answer this question, but I want you to reach and dig. So when I ask you this question, I want the first thing that pops into your mind for you to grab it. Okay, everybody here on this call tonight, what is the biggest problem in your life? Put that in your mind. Okay, everybody here wants peace around that, yes? Okay, ask yourself this question. What would you tell your kid to do with it? What would you tell your sister to do with it? What would you tell your best friend to do with it? If you can come up with an answer, move in that direction because that's going to be the smartest and strongest thing that you could do in the face of it. And if you don't feel like you can do the thing that a daughter or a sister should do, you want to sit with what programming or conditioning lives inside of you that is stopping that. You want to fix that. You absolutely do. Because I don't mean to challenge anybody's beliefs here, but there is no hell. There is no lake of fire where we burn for all eternity. But that does not mean there's not suffering in the world of spirit.
Mhm.
People suffer in the world of spirit when their loved ones here suffer. People suffer in the world of spirit when they look back and they're like, shit, I regret so much of my life. You guys all have lots of life left, and I don't want you to spend what you have left of your life berating yourself, hating yourself, digging yourself down. It's going to be a waste of time, energy, and trust me on this, everybody in this call, if being a bitch to yourself was ever going to work, it would have worked by now. So, with that being said, that is the secret to life. What would I tell my kid? That will work for you in 5 years, 10 years. And I don't know if this is particularly directed at Stephanie or other people on this call who might be having a challenge going, I wouldn't know what to tell my kid. I wouldn't know what to tell my sister. If you have a challenge or a situation that's hard and you wouldn't know what to tell a best friend, a sister, or a child, I know what you would tell that best friend, sister, or child. You would make them comfortable. You would give them space. You would give them time. You'd feed them. You'd give them blankets. You'd encourage them to take time and space. So if you don't initially know what you would tell a loved one in the face of any challenge that you have, give yourself time, give yourself space, take a day off from work, rest. Find a way to get to that answer, because I'm telling you what, that's going to be your best friend the entire time you're here.
Mhm.
I know that y'all want to have your loved ones rest in peace. I know that y'all want to have your loved ones live in peace. You have to be at peace. And truly, the only way for you to be at peace is to finally give yourself the love, compassion, and grace that you freely give everyone else around you. It's time, ladies. It's time. Be our own best friend. The icing on the cake around this, and I'm going to leave you with this. The icing on the cake with this process is this: self-respect. Self-respect. That's the icing on the cake. When you walk around the world and you insist on everybody that you love being their own best friends, but you insist on being your own worst enemy, well, I think everybody here is smart enough to realize that makes you the thing you hate the most, a hypocrite. When you're encouraging people that you love to do a particular thing, but you're not doing that for yourself, you are hypocritical.
Mhm.
You are. And when you are walking through life, doing the thing for yourself that you would want everybody that you love to do for themselves, that's where you get self-respect. You're no longer a hypocrite. That's the icing on the cake. That's the icing on the. I respect myself. I walk through this life with as little regret and suffering as possible, knowing that I will have regret and suffering, but every day is an opportunity for me to reduce the amount of regret and suffering that I feel. Every day is an opportunity for me to reduce the amount of regret and suffering that I feel at the end of my life. We have to remember that. All right. All right, guys, we're done. Thank you for today. I love you all. Thank you so much for being here. This has been recorded. You'll get a link to this so you can revisit it if you want to. But remember, lean into your attributes, lean into your love, lean into your ancestors, lean into this life and make it the best one that you could ever make it. Okay? All right.
Thank
Be
you
well. We'll see you
Thank
next
you very
time.
much.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
That was
Bye.
great. Very helpful. Thank you.
Awesome.
I really needed that.